Welcome back to my channel, guys. It's me, Max, reporting to you about New Zealand-based rugby news. And as you can see down below, I have changed the channel name to The Black Jersey. I'd been looking at changing the name for quite a long time, and finally it's happened. I've got a bit of a creative group going on Instagram, and me and some quite loyal followers have discussed quite important things behind the scenes, such as potential merch coming up in the future. And finally, I've got an actual decent name. Credit to the Rugby Centre, who's a good collaborator to work with. He designed the new logo for the page, and I'm really happy with that too. So without further ado, I'm going to get into the Blues and how they performed in Super Rugby Aotearoa in 2021. It's been very unfortunate for the Blues, and they have disappointed me quite a lot with how they went this year, because I thought that the Blues in 2021 were going to win Super Rugby Aotearoa, but obviously that hasn't come to fruition. The Crusaders are hosting the final at home in Christchurch, and the Chiefs have made a comeback, and the Chiefs are going to be playing against them. Let's go! They've got the best 5 props in Super Rugby. They have Carl Tuinukuafi, Alex Hodgman, Ofa Tu'ungafasi, Nepo Laulala, and they also have James Lay, who plays internationally at prop for Samoa. James Lay likely would have become an All Black if he was eligible for the All Blacks, and I think James Lay's had quite a good season. But the scrum success for the Blues has been quite low in 2021. I think it was 87.5% the last time I looked, and if that's still true, it means their scrum success has been the least successful of any of the 5 Super Rugby teams based in New Zealand, and that's very surprising because of the prop stocks they've got. But when you look at the depth of the rest of the forward pack, you really have to say, actually, you can't just rely on those props to do all the scrummaging. You've got to have those other guys stepping up to the plate as well. Dalton Papali'i is a massive 7. He's 6'4", 113 kgs. Hoskins Satutu's quite powerful. Tom Robinson, Akira Ioane, Tane Plumtree, all very big boys. So you do have to ask the Blues, do they need to let some of their locks go at the end of their contracts? Because other than Patrick Tuipulotu and a very young Sam Darry, I don't think any of the other Blues locks are up to the international quality in terms of how they're playing right now. Now, my second problem, Jacob Ratu-Matavuki-Neepkins, who plays for Taranaki, and Zahn Sullivan, who plays for Auckland, are very promising fullbacks and wingers. Sullivan also likes to play at first 5. I think he's probably a bit too big to play at first 5, but he's still a very good fullback. These two young blokes have not played at all for Super Rugby this season. AJ Lamb has played 2 games off the bench, including his debut, which I was fortunate enough to be at. But besides that, yeah, the Blues haven't really done too much to change up their outside backs. Mark Talia, he eats meters for days, but in a society of rush defence, I think Mark Talia may just have outdated instincts, and they possibly needed to get someone that was a bit more agile in place of Mark Talia. Last year I was calling for the guy to become an All Black, but he really hasn't dealt well with the rush defences this year, so they probably should have chucked Ratu-Matavuki-Neepkins in. Because he's a back, it's not too much of a worry, especially because he's a winger. You don't have to have very experienced wingers. You can have wingers of all kinds of experiences and all kinds of teams, and all you need from winger is their ability and their speed. The ball handling in this Blues squad is something that's really concerned me too. I've been seeing quite a lot of knock-ons, and I've really seen a lack of communication in the side so far this year. With Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, who's currently the Warriors captain, converting codes to rugby union next year and coming to the Blues, I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think Tuivasa-Sheck makes some quite big hits, so he'll be a good guy to come and fill the gap at 12, where they've really been lacking. Tanielu Talia is a guy we haven't seen a lot of, and Harry Plummer, I think this has been his best season so far in his career, but he doesn't have the size to play at 12, and he also needs to get his goal kicking up a bit, because I don't think his goal kicking is very good. Plummer has been playing outstandingly around the park in his attack and communication, but Tuivasa-Sheck is definitely a better communicator. I've been watching the Warriors lately, and obviously Beauden Barrett, when he comes back, will add a lot of communication skills to the team. But perhaps the most concerning thing about the Blues is the lack of leadership. Patrick Tuipulotu, I think, is probably the guy that deserves to be All Blacks captain in 2021 because of Sam Cane's injury. I know that Sam Whitelock was robbed of the job, but if Fozzie wants Cane to be captain when he comes back, invest in a younger guy, and Tuipulotu's the man for that. But besides Tuipulotu, a lot of the Blues leadership group is not very experienced. Oteri Black and TJ Faiani have had leadership roles, but I don't think those guys are the best leaders, and I don't think they're the best with talking to the ref. I think Tom Robinson did an alright job, but he got injured too. And Rieko Ioane and Dalton Papali'i, we saw a real contrast against the Crusaders the other day when those two are co-captains together. Dalton Papali'i was everywhere, and I think he's having his best season so far. I'd lock Papali'i in for the 7 jersey and keep Savia based on what I've seen so far. But Rieko, on the other hand, I saw a lot of knock-ons after some poor passes by Jonathan Ruru. I wouldn't re-sign Ruru for the Blues, and I would tell Rieko to maybe sort out a few of the off-field things that have been happening. I'm a massive fan of Rieko Ioane. I think he's one of the best players in the country, but with what's been going on with the news, it sounds like his off-field decisions are affecting his play, and I really hope that he can get himself together, because I predicted Rieko Ioane to have a downfall this year. It looked like he was going to prove me wrong, but over the last few weeks his game has slipped, and I think it's been wrong of the Blues to give Rieko a leadership role, because Rico's got to concentrate on his form. Remember, he's still converting back to a position he hasn't played in for a very long time. Last year when he moved to centre, it was his first time playing there in a very long time, and you've got to give that bloke some time to adjust and shift, and it's a bit of an ongoing project, much like Augustin Creevy from Argentina and his switch to hooker, which did pay off long term, but it took him a long time to make that switch. It's going to be the same for Rieko in centre, so it was wrong to give him a leadership role. Dalton Papali'i had the best game of his life against the Crusaders, whereas Rieko was just dropping so many balls and he was trying too hard to be a big communicator. He was so busy trying to help his team out and do what was best for his team that he didn't actually end up speaking to the ref as far as I could see. It's too much pressure on such young guys, and luckily Papali'i stepped up to the role, because Rieko was not handling the pressure very well at all. And you could say that for the rest of the team as well, because I think a lot of the Blues players are still really struggling under pressure, and the loss of Patrick Tuipulotu, it's been massive for the Blues, and it's not good enough that one player's loss can suddenly drag a team down so much. There has definitely been bright spots for the Blues across the season. They've got promising outside backs, but they need to sort those centres out. They need to sort those halfbacks out. They need to sort the hookers out. They need to sort the locks out. Because you can't rely on that big, massive front row to do everything. And you can't rely on Rieko Ioane to run the whole back line, because he's so young and he's still converting to a new position. Rieko's only 2 years older than me. Leave him alone, man. Seriously. The Blues, man. It's hard to say what I really think of how they've gone so far this year, because on paper, they had the best squad in the whole competition by miles. Like, seriously, by miles. I was absolutely touting them as the winners, but it just hasn't come to fruition, and I've been very sad to see this, and it sucks to see a team underperforming like this. So in conclusion, for those Blues, I hope they have the best of luck for the Trans-Tasman Super Rugby games. I hope that a lot of their players make the All Blacks so they can correct some of the mistakes they've been making. I really hope they can develop some more leaders to help the team, and hopefully everything is better for them going forward. Thanks so much for watching, guys. It's Max from the Black Jersey, and I'll see you later.